It's not about equality. It's not. It's about lying. They don't like it when their opinions are challenged. They hate free speech.
Today, we're going to be going over this video about a school kid calling out the hypocrisy of feminism and humbling his brainwashed teacher. It's a pretty long video, but this kid was spitting facts left, right, and center. Let's get into it.
The definition of feminism is equality between men and women, if you look it up on Google. In this presentation, I'm going to prove to you that that in 2016 is not the case. There was a first wave of feminism, the suffragettes who campaigned for the vote and for equality, and then there was second wave feminism in around the 60s, campaigning for equality in domestic gender roles and things like that. And then recently there's been a third wave feminism, who have consistently lied about things. For example, the wage gap between men and women. That is a lie. 77 cents to the dollar is a lie. It doesn't take into account the different hours worked by men and women on average in jobs. It doesn't take into account the different jobs that men and women do. And it doesn't take into account many, many other factors. Once you factor all these in, it is statistically irrelevant.
Preach.
The wage gap. This is just one example of the lies that have perpetrated by modern third-wave feminism. They hate free speech. They don't like it when their opinions are challenged. They try to ban words like bossy, and they try to ban things on Twitter. They try to ban people from having their opinion. They don't like other people's opinions. The imbalances on people have flipped, and feminism says that it's about equality, but I've never once seen a feminist campaign against the fact that, on average, women, if they a man, they get 2 years, 3 years in jail. But if it happens the other way around, it's 20 years. Surely if they're about equality, shouldn't it be the same for both genders? But gender imbalances include the massive suicide rate of men under 30. I've never heard a feminist or a third wave feminist once speak about how bad this is. It's not about equality. It's not. It's about lying. Thank you very much. Any questions?
So, this video is from 2016. Almost 10 years ago. You gotta think about the culture back then. It took balls to do a class presentation about these topics. I respect it. He did the research and brought up a lot of great points. I personally think he's 100% right, but his teacher didn't seem to agree.
Originally, feminism was created because there was an imbalance.
Yeah.
And originally, it was the imbalance between men and women.
This is the
The
teacher.
idea now is not feminism being an imbalance of gender, but being equality of all. You talk a lot about men versus women, but what about people who call themselves transgender? What about people that perhaps don't identify with a gender at all?
Has she been paying attention? That's a whole different topic, my love.
In relation to what?
How they should be perceived by society? Do they not count in the idea of feminism?
Well, no, because feminism, if you look up the definition, which if you ask a feminist, they'll always refer you to, is about the push for women's rights and equality between men and women.
If I call myself a feminist, I wouldn't say that I battle for the rights of women. I would say I battle for the rights of equality.
Right.
So when we talk about the shift of language and definitions, is it not fair to say that definitions shift and change depending on the need within society?
Well, just because you say you are something doesn't mean that that's what the movement is about. So I could say that I'm a radical jihadist. It doesn't mean that I'm a radical jihadist. You can say that you're something, but the movement doesn't necessarily represent that. If you say that you're about equality for all, most of feminism isn't about equality for all. It's about equality between men and women. That's what modern feminism is about. For example, with the wage gap, they haven't. When they give you the wage gap statistics, 77 cents to the dollar, they don't mention other people who may not identify with the gender or people who identify themselves as trans.
So I would say that there is equally a disparity between class systems. So if you are born into a certain class of family, your income equates to a certain amount. Do you think that that is as much of an issue, if not more so, or less so, than gender inequality?
You just don't get it, do you? You don't.
Well, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about gender inequality and how it's misrepresented by feminism because they're saying that they're for gender equality when they're actually not.
Okay, so what are your thoughts on inequality in general, including the class system?
Well, ideally, I would like to eradicate all inequalities, but I'm not going to do that by calling myself a feminist.
Boom.
I love the way she tried to change the subject 3 times, trying to slip him up. But this young man was not fazed. It perfectly demonstrates the psychological programming that certain people are suffering from. They're trying so hard to defend an idea, even they themselves don't understand.
No, you need help with it.
Okay, I got it. See, sometimes women can do things on their own. Okay, you ready?
Bro, you opening a bag. Talking about women can do things on their own. You need help with a bag?
You ready?
You grown as hell.
Are you ready?
Go get a knife or something.
I know how to get out of a chokehold. Put me in a chokehold, I'll get out of it.
Look. She can't get. Hey, she can't get out.
Oh my God.
She can't get out. She can't get out. She can't get out.
I just I guess I was engaged for like 3.5 years before I got out here, and I came out here and I'm like I guess
Why didn't you stay with that guy?
Huh?
You were engaged, and what happened to that? That's the one. How'd you fuck that up?
Yeah, he was really good and all, but also I wanted to move out to Miami and Florida. And
To be a whore? You throw away the gates of heaven with your partner to be a whore?
To move with my
I'm gonna fucking jump!
No,
She gave up a 3-year fucking marriage to go to Miami. What the fuck is so good about a fucking palm tree and some fucking immigrants? What are you talking about? A 3-year marriage for Miami. She said, well, he didn't let me go to Miami. She threw away a 3-year marriage.
Sorry for making her cry.
Oh, shit.
I'm sorry. We just been through a lot, and I don't know what else to do.
Alright, well, I guess
I'm gonna burn
the truth hurts. Alright, well, look, if y'all want to leave and throw our mics around, that's fine.
Congratulations, you played yourself.
They were engaged for 3 years, and she herself said he was good to her. What more do you want? She messed up, that's for sure. Let us all thank God for helping that young man dodge a bullet.